to another of what I'm sure will be a fun-filled episode of Let's Talk About Stuff.
And he got it right this time only because he asked right before he started.
I can't even. I was going to introduce you before you just started popping off, but per usual, you've got to be the star of the show.
I am the star of the show.
Because everyone never comments on me about the show. They always comment about how good you are on the microphone.
Because you're supposed to be good at this. I'm not.
Anyway, this is my illustrious wife, Samantha North. I am John North, the voice of the Union College Bulldogs,
I'm Samantha North, the voice of the Let's Talk About Stuff.
as well as the South Laurel Cardinals. But yeah, so we're back on another episode. It's been a while. Both of us have been extremely busy. We both traveled a lot. Sam has been busy with her school stuff.
Yep.
Just real quickly, just name some stuff that I guess you've done since our last podcast, which has been a while.
Well, basketball season, finishing that up. Prom, that was the biggest one that we were that I was working on and dealing with. Testing, just end of the year
School
shenanigans. Play. Yep. Oh yeah, our school play. Play on. So yeah, lots of things that I think I've kind of blocked out because it was so hectic. So now that I'm in rest mode, I just kind of block out all the hectic things that happen throughout the year.
Absolutely. And then there for a while, I was, I think there was one point where I had, 28 broadcasts and
24 days or something.
Yeah,
crazy
it was something
like
crazy.
Yeah.
So I think I only had 2 days where I didn't have anything to do. Between February and then like the start of April.
Yeah.
So very happy to actually, when you talk for a living, you don't want to just sit down and talk for fun.
Yeah,
and do something professional for fun, because even though it's just you and I kind of chilling out and hanging out, but I still have to be on when I'm on this. I can't just mail it in. Like, I have to be on.
And when you get home, sometimes I am super high energy because I've just got done being really high energy, so my energy just kind of carries over, and John's not having it. He's like, I cannot handle you right now.
No. But yeah, since then, I guess we'll go over a couple of the things in detail. I know since the last time we've been on, Union won the national championship. I was able to be on the call for that one out in Branson, Missouri, and just a really, really fun opportunity to do that. And it was big for me as a big of basketball fan that I am, and also just being the voice of the Bulldogs and knowing that that's going to live in history now. My call will live in history for a school even as small as Union. I think it is really, really cool, and was a great opportunity to go out to Branson and do that.
And if I may, it was a really good call too. Like, John doesn't give himself enough credit because he had so many viewers throughout that whole tournament, like viewers in the hundreds. And then when he went live for the last couple minutes, he had well over 100 viewers who was just on at one point, just there with you for that moment. And to see you break down in that last moment, it was really awesome for me. And it was sad that I couldn't be there with you, but I don't remember what I had going on, but something that prevented me from being able to make the trip.
A lot, probably.
We
were there for a week and 2 days.
But it was really awesome just to see you in that moment. And
also I had pneumonia during this.
Oh, yeah, because Fool wouldn't go to the doctor until the day before he left, and the doctor was like, yep, you got pneumonia.
I called at least 3 weeks with pneumonia.
Yep, and so he went to Branson with a couple shots in the butt, and then woke up that next morning.
Did you not cough on air, by the way?
How am I supposed to stop?
You just turn yourself down over there on the board.
I don't know what controls me.
Well, you're one over there, so if you got a cough, turn yourself down.
Okay,
This is a professional podcast.
I'm
sick.
I'm sick.
It's not joke time with John and Sam.
I don't know how to turn it down.
Anyway, so yeah, that was a lot of fun. You just use this button right here. That's all you got to do is turn yourself all the way down.
Thank you, teacher, for teaching me how to do that before.
You're welcome. But yeah, that was a lot of fun going out to Branson.
I just bragged on you too.
Well, I'm just saying, if you want to do a podcast, you can't be coughing all over the
How am I
microphone.
supposed to stop myself from coughing?
You can take your headset off and hold it away, or you can turn it down like I showed you.
Okay.
All right, back on topic here, because we're going to try to keep this within 30 minutes because I don't want to keep everyone forever. But yeah, Branson, a lot of fun. This is the first time I've actually got to really sit down and talk about it. I mean, you and I have talked about it a lot. It was a very emotional journey for me. It was very awesome to know that that people out there got to listen to me, and people have told me that it was one of their favorite calls of sports. Period, and I
Yeah.
think that's a pretty big deal when somebody tells you that.
And it's a big deal, period, that the fact that Union did this because, it's not, NCAA national championship, but
Hmm.
it is an NAI national championship. And
Yeah.
that's just, I mean, I'm not going to say it's just as big as if Kentucky won a national championship, but it is for
Yeah.
Union's level. Like, they,
Only school in Kentucky to win a state
Yeah.
championship.
Yeah,
Too. Or
a
I mean a
national
national
championship.
championship. Yeah.
yeah, and so it's a really huge deal. And just to be able to know that we went to that college and John still works at that college, it was just, it was a really, really cool experience. And to see how much the community came together for, them winning and seeing how much of a big deal it was, it was really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel sorry for people because there's probably a lot of people listening to this, and there's a lot of people in the area that love, Kentucky basketball, but they won't travel, 45 minutes to see Union play when they have been they just blow people out of the water. Like, it's so
Yeah.
much fun to watch. It's a show. It's a spectacle. Every time they lace up. But yeah, a lot of fun. I was thankful to be on that call, and hopefully we can do it again next year.
Yeah, my
Do it
favorite
all
part
again.
of you on the trip was the blimp that was floating around in the gym.
Yep, there was a blimp in there that they would drive around and drop things on, and Sam just got a real big kick out of it flying around. My friend
It was
Luke
a
too.
blimp in a kind of a small gym. It wasn't that big of a gym, and there was a blimp.
There was a blimp. It was remote control, but it was really cool. What do you got? What we got next?
Next, that's going to segue into our trip to Wrestlemania.
Yes.
That's something else that we've been very busy with. And this
Yes.
was the most hectic, exhausting vacation of my life.
Yes.
Um, with everything
Yes.
that's been going on with airlines and fights and everything, we got to experience a little bit of just how much of, I can't say what I want to say for fear of repercussions, but
The FCC gonna shut us down.
yeah, it was horrible. It was the
Yeah.
worst experience of my life because we go to get on the plane, and John Love his heart had booked about 5 wrestling shows, 6 wrestling shows, had already bought tickets for this. So by far, besides being the most exhausting vacation, this was the most expensive vacation we had ever been on, and it was only 3 days. But John wanted to do it right. He wanted to get to go to all these indie shows the
And
same
to
night.
let people know, like, for those who, I know people listening to this probably know me pretty well, that I watch not just WWE wrestling, but I watch
every wrestling.
everything that I can possibly take in, because it's one of the few things that I can watch on television now that makes me happy, or that I can watch to make me happy, because I cover so much sports. It's something that I can get lost in. So around WrestleMania weekend, I think they totaled 85 independent booking shows,
Besides
etc., etc.
WrestleMania.
Besides WrestleMania, that's not even affiliated with WWE. They just run wherever WWE is because they know how many fans are going to be there. But
Yeah.
go ahead with.
And so he booked, he bought tickets to 5 or 6 different shows. And so we stay in Knoxville the night before we were due to leave, which was a Friday morning. And that Friday morning we get up and we get to the hotel, or we get to the airport by 5:15, I want to say. Go through security, no problems. Are about to board our first flight to Charlotte, and then we had a connector that would go to to Orlando.
It's next year.
Yeah, that's next year. And they tell us that our flight has been canceled because of lack of personnel, which we came to find out later that a flight attendant hadn't shown up for work. That day.
Airline's fault, not weather.
Nope, it was the
The
airline's fault. Yeah, and so we scramble a little bit, and they put us on another flight to Charlotte that would leave at noon. And so we sat in the Starbucks in the Knoxville airport for 5 hours.
Yeah, it was a
6
long time.
hours,
It was a
many
long time.
many hours, and are getting ready to board our flight finally to Charlotte, and it's delayed. So we finally get on the plane, and it is the world's smallest plane. Like, it's literally a tin can with wings.
Yep.
Like, there's probably 20 people
Yep.
on this plane.
Tried to land in Charlotte and
Couldn't.
because of the wind, because
Yep.
the plane was small, so we had to
And-
go 3 times
And
through.
no, so since this was such a tiny little plane, and since it wasn't full, there was not a good weight balance, and so the flight attendant asked if anybody would kindly switch to the back of the plane to distribute weight. Well, me and John are nice people, and so we said, you know what? Yep, we will.
It's a very common thing, by the way, is to do that. That happens on a lot
so
of flights.
nobody else was raising their hand, so me and John were like, sure, no problem. We were right in the front of the plane, like at the front of the plane, and we switched to the very back of the plane. Well, when it got time for us to land and we couldn't, we asked the flight attendant if we could get off first, because we had a connector that was in minutes, and she was like, sorry, nothing I can do about that. They're all going to get up, so sorry. Well, then was it that one that they sent us to the wrong gate?
Yep, sent us to the wrong gate.
So
I had to run across the Charlotte airport.
But that was again their fault, because they sent us to a gate that had construction, and so they pull in at that gate and they're like, "Oh, sorry, can't get off here." So we have to drive through the parking, through the tarmac,
and of course have to wait for other planes again.
Yep. And so we get there, and our connector is boarding is currently boarding.
Wouldn't let us on.
So we get to the front desk, and they won't let us on. There are people getting our seats in front of us as we are talking to them, and they're not letting us on.
I'm gonna take over here, because then Sam went 606 on this woman, and she's like screaming that we know we have seats. Here's our tickets right here, and I had to usher her away because I knew it would do
she said
no
sorry.
good to do that.
Well, she said, sorry, we're full. I'm like, I know you ain't full, because here's our tickets. Here's our seats.
606, the beach fort, like I said.
That off track a little bit, but that's the whole overbooking thing with airlines. That's a real legitimate problem, because they gave our seats away in front of us, told us that it was full when we had tickets in our hands, got to the gate with a minute.
They still had the thing attached.
Yeah, there was nothing. The plane was sitting there, and they wouldn't let us on. And that goes back to the whole thing with the Louisville doctor getting physically dragged out of his seat. This is a real problem. And, I get airlines are not, they're business. They exist to make money. But it's bad. It's problematic.
Yeah,
there's a lot of problems with it. And we got to experience that firsthand.
Well, if we talk about this, we're going to be talking about it for 45 minutes.
Continue on the rest of our
cut that. We ended up getting in Orlando at about 11 that night.
No, that's not even the best part. You skipped it. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so once I go 606.
Your podcast now. Go ahead.
Yeah, my podcast. So once we go off, they get us on a flight the next morning, which has thus made John miss 2 wrestling shows. So we get hotel vouchers, we get food vouchers, we go get a giant pizza, 2 sushi rolls, and we proceed to go look for our luggage, which of course has gone on to Orlando without us. And then we harass them on Twitter, and they find us flights on a later time to Orlando. So we had to scarf the pizza and the rolls, go back through security, finally get on a plane to Orlando, and we get to Orlando. Now you can talk.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to move along here
But that was important.
But yeah, the whole Wrestlemania experience was pretty. I mean, I think anyone, even if you don't like wrestling, that you're listening to this, could appreciate the spectacle that Wrestlemania is, because I don't know how many fit in Camping World Stadium. I don't remember the exact number that they announced, but I mean, it was just chock full. There was not an empty seat in the place, and I think one of the loudest things I've ever been a part of, and I've been to a lot of sporting events. I've been to U.S. soccer matches. I've been to Mexico soccer matches. I've been to UK basketball games. I've been to NCAA tournament games. You name it, I've been there. But the loudest it's ever been that I've ever experienced a crowd was when the Hardy Boys came back at WrestleMania. It was insane.
It was amazing because when I watched wrestling when I was younger, when I was in high school, I loved Jeff Hardy. He was my bae. Because I was going through a little punk stage then, and he had the different colored hair, and he came out, and he was just the best. And so when he went through that hard time where, he had some drug abuse and kind of fell off the circuit there for a while, it was really sad. And so to see him and Matt come back together, it was unreal. It was such a cool moment.
That I did not think was going to happen, even as it was happening.
But
I
you
was
knew
like, no
it
way.
was weird, though, because, the New Day comes out, and they're like, well, looks like we have an empty slot in this. And they do their hoo, 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 hoo. and you think that it's gonna be New Day that's gonna, join in the match. Nope. John's like, can it be? Is it possible? Can this be? And I'm like, what? And then their music hits.
I didn't want to spoil you. I didn't say anything.
Their music hits, and at first I'm like, whose music is this? And then I see who it is, and I crap my pants.
I was jumping up and down, going absolutely
and
crazy.
It was awesome. Everybody around us was doing it. It was amazing.
They're doing the Matt Hardy delete.
Delete.
But yeah, I mean, and WrestleMania as a whole, regardless of what you think about the show, if you're at the show,
it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just a spectacle. It was like 8 hours long.
Yes, oh my God.
We got there. We skipped through security by going through a hole in the fence.
Yep. And then, so I got to take my purse in.
Yeah, that they told you couldn't take in.
Glad that I wasn't a murderer because
we could have literally took a flamethrower into that place.
Well, they told us on the bus that I could take it was like a little clutch purse, and so they're like, oh yeah, that's fine. Well, then we get here, and this lady's like, you can't take that purse in. I'm like, what am I going to do with it? And so accidentally we go through a hole in the fence. And it was really accidentally.
Yeah, we just thought we were skipping around the whole fence, but what I didn't realize is they had it fenced off because of security. And so we just walked through, and we walked straight to the gate and went in. We avoided every single line in the place to get in. It was pretty awesome.
Including the metal detectors
and
the wands. So I'm glad that we were not mass murderers.
Yeah, but Orlando was amazing. I got to see a lot of independent guys that I love, and a lot of independent guys I've been following for a while.
We got to see the Undertaker's
last
match.
It was possibly
really
last
special.
match.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it is just in case, but
so
what they presented was his last match. We saw that,
was
and
really
that
special.
was very. I kind of just turned my phone off and savored the moment. I've never been a huge Undertaker guy, but it was really cool to see that.
When he lost to the big turd Brock Lesnar, I was very sad.
So then we get back from Orlando. This is back-to-back trips for me because then I've got to turn right around after Orlando at the end of the next month. So at the end of February, I'm going to Branson. At the end of March, I'm going to Orlando. At the end of April, I'm going to D.C. for my best friend Aaron McCullum's wedding.
Yeah, which I was so upset that I had to miss because I played with trying to go because our prom was that Friday night. And so I tried to find a way for me to fly out that Saturday morning, and John was very against it because he knows I get a little hysterical when I'm in a situation that I'm lost or I'm confused. I don't do well in that situation. So I was very upset that I wasn't able to be there, but from the pictures, it was beautiful, and John was the bestest mensch.
Yeah, I got to give a speech, but I got to be reunited with Richie and Will, my college roommates, which was a lot of fun. Richie lives in D.C. and still wanted to look at or go by the Capitol every opportunity. And then on Snapchat all the time, he's always taking pictures of the Capitol. But a funny story from the wedding was, so I was the best man, so I was in charge of the rings. And so during the ceremony, I was kind of lost in Aaron and Lindsay's, kind of vows that they were exchanging or whatever, and just completely forgot that I had the rings. So I had to hurry up and get them out of my pocket on cue, and I handed Aaron the wrong ring. He's supposed to have his ring, and he was supposed to have her ring.
Yeah.
I gave him the wrong one. In my head, I was mixed up, and I thought that it was mixed up.
Yeah.
So he's like, and I was making hand gestures because I didn't know what to do, and so I just handed him both of them. I just said, "Here you go," and then, and then I'm supposed to give, the way it was rehearsed, I'm supposed to give Lindsay the ring too, but I'd already gave it to Aaron, and so she looked back at me to get the ring, and I was like, "He's got both of them." But I thought it broke the tension. Like it was really funny.
And
not broke the tension, but kind of broke the ice. Everyone was kind of laughing about it.
At our wedding, our bestest bench forgot the rings.
Yeah, Justin forgot the ring
in Middle Fork.
Yep, and had to drive back and get them.
Yeah. So
luckily, we're taking pictures, so it didn't really matter. But.
And I didn't know anything about it until he was already back.
But yeah, that was a funny story from the. I was late for everything
Yeah.
to do with the wedding.
And Richie wanted us to talk about him. I hear from good sources that Richie's word
Was
of the
bougie.
trip was bougie. That DC is full of bougie women with bougie food.
Bougie food, bougie this, bougie that. That's all he talked about the entire time. He would just say bougie, and I'm like, I don't even know what that word means with this context. Uh, but yeah, we were in the back of the metro, and he was just cutting a promo back there about bougie women, and everyone on there was laughing.
How they all
He was
have.
like, yeah, he goes, they all have better jobs than me. They're all better looking than me. He's like, what have I got to give them? He's like, I have nothing.
He has a sweet mustache.
He does, absolutely. But yeah, so that kind of catches us up to why we haven't been on a podcast recently,
Yeah.
because this is the first time in 3 months that I won't be making a life-changing kind of trip. And so, yeah, back at home for a few months. We don't really plan on doing anything huge this summer. I'm going to a couple wrestling shows throughout the summer, but we'll
I'm
get
having
to that.
surgery.
Yep, you're having surgery here in a
That's my
couple
fun
days. So
for
we'll
summer.
leave it at that and move on to a couple of our topics that we were given on Facebook.
Yeah, one of the topics that we were given to talk about was fidget spinners, which I thought was such a cool idea.
Yeah, Whitney Elam gave us that idea. And it's funny because we were just having a conversation about fidget spinners, I think, when we went home last Sunday. So, you and I were kind of talking about it, and I compared it to when I was in high school, and I'm sure some people can relate, when yo-yos got really big. Yo-yos kind of made a comeback from
They had
way
the
back
light
when.
up ones, the whistling ones.
They had like clutches in them where if you spin them hard enough, they would just sit there and
Yeah,
spin for a
could
while,
walk
and
the
then
dog for
yeah,
days.
yep. And those were always fun. And I kind of said those fidget spinners are now what yo-yos were for us, except they're supposed to be made for children or students with ADHD,
Yeah,
ADD.
and so that's what's kind of they've got a little controversial because a lot of schools have banned them. And kind of my take on it as a teacher is, I have students who have trouble concentrating, that they want to fidget. And so the spinners, I can absolutely see how that's beneficial for the students that need them. However, every single student is now getting a fidget spinner, and that's when it doesn't become a tool to help you concentrate. It becomes a toy. When everybody has one and you're comparing them under the desk and you're saying, oh, mine glows in the dark, mine lights up, mine whistles.
Mine's got this logo on
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
that's when it becomes a toy. And, as a teacher, I would love to have, for kids to be able to have something to help them concentrate. You yourself actually ordered the fidget cube.
I got a cube, that I can kind of keep in my fist. Like you can't physically see it.
Yeah. And I've actually played with the fidget spinners, and I wasn't. I like to have my hands free, so like I don't like to have my hands not be free because I'm a busy person. I need to be able to grab things and go. So just to have my hand be occupied by something that wasn't something not something that I needed. But I don't have ADHD, so it's not something necessary for me. But I can absolutely see how they're beneficial for kids, and I wish that they hadn't taken off as a toy.
Yeah.
If they had been taken off as something for therapy, as something, for students to have that, need it, awesome. That's great. That's a great idea. But it is now being marketed as a toy.
Well, and that's kind of the thing with everything that is given to someone who needs something. You can take service dogs, for an example.
Yeah.
Now everyone wants to get an emotionally support animal, but because they want to take their dog with them. And I get some people need that, and I get service dogs are very, very important.
Yeah.
But, people abuse it. They abuse everything. And then companies abuse the fidget spinners because now they're putting logos on them. They're putting, Batman logos on them, Superman logos.
Making them do cool things besides just spin. And
making them collectibles, so that way you have to get them. It's kind of the Ty Beanie Baby effect.
Yeah, and so it's turned into something that's not really a benefit, but it is a distraction. I can absolutely see how teachers are seeing them as a distraction because it wasn't really a problem in my classroom, but I teach big kids. You know, I have 11th and 12th grade, so I had several students that had one, but it wasn't like, okay, put your fidgets away, it's time to learn. So, but they really didn't get big until the last couple weeks of school, and so by then they're pretty much done
all
anyway.
over the place. Everyone's selling them now. Everyone's selling them now.
Yeah, we were actually going to sell them as a fundraiser at the Mountain Laurel Festival, but everybody has one.
Yeah.
So
And you
it
probably
wouldn't-
can't get them that quick right now,
no,
can you?
no, it was
I
a
can imagine.
yeah. We looked
Like
into
my
it.
fidget cube, and I ordered this before like the huge craze hit with
Mhm.
the fidget spinners. I don't think it's gonna be here till like June 7th.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's very
really long
very
time.
popular.
All right. Well, our next and probably going to be our final thing because
Yeah.
we don't want to move is going to be our top 5, and we're going to combine our top 5 with a topic that we were given, which was to talk about our how we travel and how we
Mhm.
choose where to eat when we travel.
Yep.
Because me and John kind of have rules that we abide by when we travel. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, one of the biggest rules is we don't eat what we can get locally,
Yeah.
and even so much as we can't get in Lexington, and we can't get in Richmond,
Yeah.
we can't get in London, we can't get in Corbin or Knoxville, that
and
sort of thing.
Yeah, and another one that we try to avoid if we can is to avoid chains.
Yep.
We don't like to go to big chain restaurants unless it's something that we just absolutely can't get anywhere else. Like some seafood restaurants are chains,
Yep.
and we can't help it that they're just chains, but we don't have them where we live.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my top 5 is a chain, but it's not a big chain.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's some of the rules that we abide by, and so when we
We're all about supporting local businesses
yeah,
too.
we are. We love our local businesses in Barberville. We
Love our Ugly Mug. I
yeah,
go there.
Our Old Way cafes.
Love Old Way, Oven Mitt,
Yeah.
Beeville Grill,
The farmers market.
Thelma's.
Yeah.
I mean, we go to all of it. I don't think the only time I go to a chain, I go to Dairy Queen occasionally. They have a lot of local people there to like do fundraisers and stuff. I'll go there and eat, and then if I have to, I'll go to Wendy's.
Yeah.
And then of course we don't have really a local pizza place, so we have to get if
Yeah.
we want pizza, we have to go to Papa
Yeah,
John's
but
or
in
Pizza Hut.
Pineville, when I go, out for lunch, we're really limited as to what we have. But I try to go to Mexican as much as possible, because they're a local business.
Mhm.
But I've kind of wrote down a couple, and
Yeah.
I know John's going to talk about a couple. Let's start with Charleston because I know you have one for Charleston, and I know I have one for Charleston. So my one that I'm going to talk about for Charleston, I wrote down 2. And one of them's the sushi place, and I'm not going to talk about it a whole lot, but the one that I really want to talk about is Poe's Tavern.
Mhm.
And we found it probably on TripAdvisor. It's not really an unknown place. It's really touristy.
Yeah.
They sell T-shirts and mugs and
Mhm.
stuff. But best mahi mahi sandwich I've ever had in my whole life.
Yeah, normally as a rule, this is another quick rule of thumb for those who travel and kind of want to know how we do things. I usually stay away from places that sell their own T-shirt.
Yeah.
That usually means they're pretty touristy and they want to be a hole in the wall, but they're really
Yeah.
not. But Poe's Tavern is really good.
Yeah, and there are a lot of places that are little hole in the wall places that are local places and
Mhm.
that do sell their own merchandise. And so that's not like a strict rule that we always abide by.
Yeah, definitely something I keep an eye out
And
for.
then I know your favorite Charleston restaurant.
It's Home Team Barbecue.
Yep. Which I'm not a huge fan of because I don't eat meat. And even when I did eat meat, I don't really like spicy things. So barbecue's not really.
Yeah, if you go to Charleston, if you're down that way, definitely. I know there's a couple of Home Team barbecues, so that was recommended to me by John Gatto, who used to live down in Charleston, who I used to work with, and some of the best barbecue I ever had, especially the smoked wings that they have.
Mhm.
Definitely try those out if you're. But yeah, that's another big thing I always look for in the South is barbecue. You
Yeah.
will always find a good barbecue place.
I'm not a big barbecue fan.
Yep.
Next we have Vegas.
Yes.
Oh, the Vegas restaurant that I still dream about. And it's expensive, so if you're going, bring your wallets. But it's called Wicked Spoon.
Mhm.
It's at the Cosmo, and it is a buffet, but it is unlike any buffet you will ever
Yeah.
go to.
Yep.
I have dreams about it.
They have I hate buffets. They have gourmet food on this buffet.
Yeah, and so it's not set up like a buffet because you can just go and they give you plates. It's
Yeah.
not like just slop it on your plate.
Mhm.
They give you individual plates of whatever it is you want. So
Yep.
let's say that you want filet mignon. You go
Yeah.
and they give you a filet and they'll have a side on it.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and they had I think they had lobster tail, crab
Mhm.
legs. They had ribs. And all this stuff is just. I mean, you get
Amazing.
it's expensive, but you get
It's
your
worth
money's
it.
worth.
I think it was $50 each. We went on a
Mhm.
dinner night, and it was a specialty dinner night, And so John got like bone marrow
Yeah, that was good. They also have stuff. They have delicacies
and that's
on
why
there.
it was so
Yeah.
expensive the night we went because it
Yep.
was like a specialty night.
Yep. They have they had bone marrow and they had a couple other things, but bone marrow
I'm
was
pretty
really
sure
good.
there was escargot.
Yeah,
'Cause
I think
remember,
so. Yeah.
I can't remember if that's where I tried it or if I tried it
Yeah.
somewhere else.
I remember that.
But it was amazing. You know, if you're in Vegas and you're looking for a nice expensive buffet to get lots of food.
I had a nice breakfast at Hash House A Go Go.
Mhm.
That's a chain, but it's somewhere that you can only get in a city like Vegas. I
Yep.
think that's one of the only few. I looked up the other day where the other ones were, but they
There's
have.
only like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
feel
a
like there's
very small
lot.
chain,
Yeah.
and then they have like the pancakes that are as big as
That's what I got
steering
was
wheels.
pancakes.
Yeah,
And it was literally the size of a steering wheel.
yeah,
It
and then
was
I've
huge.
got the fried chicken egg Benedict.
Yours was weird. It was like a mountain.
Yeah,
of
it was crazy.
weird
It had
food.
it had biscuits, and then on top of that was like a fried chicken
Yeah,
breast,
it was
and
like a
then
volcano.
on top of that was like the hollandaise sauce,
Yeah.
and then the eggs, and then it was all held together like by spaghetti,
Yeah.
hard spaghetti noodles. Like it was crazy.
It was.
It was nuts. But yeah, Hash House A Go Go, good breakfast place.
Next we have Orlando.
Mm.
And that was where we just were. With our crazy, hectic, exhausting schedule, we didn't get to eat out a whole lot
No,
when we
we-
went to Orlando. But the one place we did go that was really, really good was called Fred's Market. And again, it was a buffet. We were looking for something fast. And this was all like good down home Southern cooking.
Yep.
And
It was
good.
again. I will reiterate. I do not like buffet places. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of cafeteria style or buffet.
Yeah.
But this was this had very high rankings on TripAdvisor,
Yeah.
and so we decided we'd check it out. It was near the venue that we were going, and yeah, really, really good Southern food. I mean, I probably could have ate a lot more than I
Yeah.
did, but we had to go.
And TripAdvisor is a really good. I'm not going to say it's always right because some places you look in the number one places like Papa John's or
Yeah.
White Castle. But if you kind of do a combination of Yelp, TripAdvisor, Zomato,
Mhm.
they'll give you all really good recommendations. And so when we go places, we don't like just lightly. You know, we take our eating very seriously. We like food. And if we're going to spend our money, you know, places, I'm a tightwad, so I want to spend it on something that I'm really going to like. So we look at a lot of places. We compare, you know, what we're going to eat. I'm not going to say I'm picky, but I'm a pescatarian, which means I don't eat meat, but I eat fish.
Mhm.
And so I have to be kind of picky about where I go to make sure that I can find something that I can eat.
And then I think that was where else did we eat out in Orlando?
I
Was
swear,
that the
I
only
think that
place?
was it. I
think
really
that
don't
was
think
it.
we ate anywhere else besides fast food.
Yeah, because we just had to.
Yeah, because we
'Cause we had to
didn't-
go.
Yeah, it was.
I had pancakes at a wrestling show I went to.
Yeah, I made mac and cheese at the
Yeah.
hotel when you were at that
Yeah.
wrestling show.
Yeah.
It was a very hectic vacation.
Yeah, but that it was very good.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could have found some more places. In Harry Potter World, we ate at Three Broomsticks and
yes. Leaky Cauldron.
yeah, Leaky Cauldron, and both those were authentic British food. It was really good
Yeah,
though.
it was really good. Bangers and mash,
Yeah.
shepherd's pie, fisherman's pie. It's good stuff.
I was really impressed by the
Chips,
food
fish
there
and chips.
because it's obviously it's a little more expensive
Yeah.
than your usual restaurant, but that's going to happen if you go to a theme park. I don't think you can go in and complain
Yeah.
about the prices because you know what
Yeah.
at this point in time in your life you know what you're getting into. The water's going to be $16
Yeah,
a thing.
a
It's just
gilly
what you
water
get into.
was like $5.99.
Yeah,
or
it's just
something.
what you get. It's what you get yourself
Yeah.
into. But I was very impressed with the quality of food in a
Me
theme park.
too. And you can
usually
tell-
don't get that, but it was
Yeah.
very, very good.
You could tell that J.K. Rowling like put her heart and soul
Yeah.
into making sure everything was perfect. You loved the butterbeer and the pumpkin juice.
I had like 3 butter beers and I had like 3
Yeah.
pumpkin
Hot
juices
take,
throughout the day.
I think the butterbeer at the Ugly Mug is better than the one at Hogwarts. Sorry.
Yeah.
John.
Not gonna go there, but
Sorry. All right,
I
moving
do.
on.
I love my ugly mug. But
Moving on to New Orleans. We ate at a lot of good places in New Orleans, but I have the one that I'm ready to talk about. Do you have one that you want to talk about?
in New Orleans,
Yep.
Yeah, we ate. I had a place, a little hole in the wall place I found on our way back to our to the hotel we were staying at, and it was called
got your po' boy.
Nola Po' Boys.
Yep,
And
yep.
I ate there twice.
Several
It was
times.
so good. It was just a little kind of in and out place. They didn't have a lot of.
Dirty. It looked dirty.
Yeah, it was very dirty. But man, the po' boys I had there was delicious, and I think I had some gumbo there or
Yeah,
jambalaya
you did,
one. I
and
don't
you
remember.
had some like, what are the balls called?
Boudin, is that what it's
Boudin
called?
balls? Yeah,
Yeah, I
something like
think so.
that. But yeah, you had all kinds of crap there. And my favorite place was Drago's.
Yeah, seafood.
Seafood.
Yep.
The charbroiled oysters.
Out by the Harrah's, I want to say.
Yep.
It's out by the
where we
casino.
go on the ship and stuff.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was, I don't remember what I got for my entree, but I could have eaten those charbroiled oysters. I could eat them every day, all day, for every meal.
Yeah, those charbroiled oysters was probably one of the better things that I've ever had at any restaurant
Me
we've
too.
been to.
And
we had them at another place in New Orleans, and they weren't that good.
No.
At Deanie's, that
Yeah.
tourist trap we went
Yeah.
to because we were just starving and had to go somewhere.
Yeah. And that's hard too. Like, you really have to plan out like how much time you're gonna spend somewhere, because some of the better places are gonna have a wait. You know, I know we wanted to go to this place in Jacksonville, and the wait was endless, and so we didn't get to go there. But that's something you really have to take into consideration. If you want good food, you gotta wait.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, if it's a highly ranked place and you want to go to a place where the line is out the door.
Yeah.
I mean, unless
if there's no wait, there's a problem.
Yeah. Exactly. Especially if you're going during peak dinner hours
Yep.
somewhere and there's not a wait, then you're doing something wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. Just go to McDonald's.
Yep. And our last one, and this is a place that we don't really travel for vacation. This is where you go for work,
Yeah.
but it's Kingsport.
I think Kingsport is highly, highly underrated at the amount of good food places that they have. I really do.
Yep. Every time that I would go with you, I think I've been with you twice, and there was just so much to choose from. Edu's, the sushi place again, and it's really hard to talk about like sushi places when you're talking about like good food places and stuff, because sushi is either good or it's not.
Yeah.
And you can get good sushi and you can get not good sushi. And so I don't like to spend a whole lot of time talking about sushi places, but Mad Greek, which is
That's in Bristol.
It's in Bristol. It's not in Kingsport, but we usually go on our way
up to DC.
Yeah.
Or,
and it's kind of in the vicinity, so I wanted to talk about it. But falafel, their falafel's amazing. You usually get, I think you've got shawarma there before.
Yep, I did get shawarma. Yep.
Yep, and shish kebabs, authentic shish kebabs.
Yeah, they had. I think I got. Last time I was there, I got like the eggplant parm, and it's authentic Greek food.
Yep.
Their tzatziki sauce, is that what it's called?
Yeah, tzatziki.
Yeah, tzatziki is very, very good. It is very, very good. But that's probably one of my favorite places to hit up while I'm up there. And then Phil's Dream Pit is another barbecue place if you're up that way. It's kind of off the beaten path, but if you're heading up 81, I know a couple people that's listening to this probably travel up that way quite a bit. Check out Phil's Dream Pit for lunch or dinner on your way back. It is very, very solid.
Yeah,
very, very solid.
I know we've talked for a long time. What are we at right now, bub?
We are about 37 minutes. So.
Oh wow! So yeah, we need to we need to cut the mic.
No, we can do our top 5 real quick.
Okay. Our true top 5 was going to be our top 5 summer activities before we skedaddle off here. What's one of yours?
Fire pit, and I put LOL beside it because you ran over it 2 days ago.
I ran over it, but that was on mine too. I said cookout / fire pit.
Yeah, fire pit, definitely one of my favorites.
I think I can beat it back into its shape with a hammer, maybe, or I'll just buy a new one.
I'll give it a try.
Pretty salty about it. It's flat as a pancake.
Oh goodness.
One of mine, and it's not something we get to do very often because we can't ever get the stupid 4-wheeler fixed, but is riding. That was always something I loved to do when I was younger, and when we were living back home, or when we would go back home for the summer, we would always go up on the mountain and cook out and go riding, and I loved that.
A lot of fun.
Yep.
One of mine is having you here when I wake up.
Aww.
Because I don't get to do that ever during the year. You're always gone when I get up to go to work or go cover an event. So I like getting up and you already being up and watching TV or whatever. It's just it's very comforting for me to have someone here and someone else for the cats to annoy. Because if it's just me here, then they're constantly once you're gone, they're constantly like in bed with me and walking over my head and stuff, and it's awful.
One of mine is walking with you in the evenings.
I got that.
We do a lot of walking together, walking around.
Being active in general. We play our little game out in the driveway.
Yeah, we made John actually kind of made it up, but it's like a volleyball 4-square type deal, and it's really fun.
It's fun, kind of a volley tennis type thing.
Yep.
Mine. Number 3, walking and being active was my number 2. Since we talked, I love the loop we do around Barberville, and just kind of it's nice. It kind of clears your head. My 3 is traveling.
Traveling.
We like to travel a lot.
Yep, we like to travel. We like to eat. I think technically this is my number 5 since we've already covered all my other ones. But it's crafting.
Yep.
Whether it's painting or organizing or making something. I'm a very crafty person, but it comes in shifts,
Hmm.
and I usually don't have a lot of time to do it. And so during the summer is kind of my time to be crafty, and I love it.
And then we have the my final one, which is I just put the wrestling.
The wrestling.
Because this is my time of year where I can actually get away, travel, go to make towns for wrestling, and it makes me very happy to do so. I'm going to Newport, Tennessee this Sunday. If you're listening to this, it's what is today, the 19th, so that's the 21st down in Newport. Going to Nashville here in a couple weeks. Going to Chattanooga in August, at the start of August. I'm going to Georgia in June, and then I'm going to Charlotte in July. So just little trips like that I love to take, and love to go be with my wrestling brethren
Yeah.
and all the friends I've made
And
over the years.
that would be one of mine too. Would be just being social. Like
Yep.
I don't get to see my friends a whole lot during the year because we're all so busy.
Yep.
We all work different schedules, and so I've made plans.
You're going to a concert this
Yep,
weekend,
going to watch the
Chainsmokers, right?
Chainsmokers
Yeah.
tomorrow with Bridget, with my friend. And then we've got plans to go see Tasha next week, and Veronica and Sierra. Me and Sierra live next door to each other, but we still don't see each other that much. So we're making plans to go see each other, and that's just something I cherish that time because we don't get a whole lot of it, and we always pick up right where we left off when we see each other, and so summer's kind of my social time and my resting time.
Yeah, so that's our top 5. Feel free to let us know, write on our walls, message us if you listen. Let us know your top 5. And we're always looking for suggestions of what you guys want us to talk about, because usually we have about 100 views on these podcasts, and they're on YouTube, so I think that's pretty cool that people want to take their time to listen, and even if they don't, it's fine. I like sitting here doing it with you. So
Yep, me too. And even if we didn't get to your topic today and you had a suggestion, let us know. And
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
try
There's
to,
a couple that we're definitely going to touch on there, but I know Patty suggested
yes,
13th region refs in Kentucky, and I could go on about that.
I
I'm
could
not a
preach.
person who openly complains about officiating, but I could get on that soapbox for a long time
Yep,
in the state of Kentucky.
and we have several recommendations for politics. I don't know if you guys want to hear our opinions on politics because we're
well, the people who ask, you probably do want to hear
well,
our
maybe,
opinions.
but the majority of our friends and
You
followers,
do not.
you might not be our friend
But
anymore.
that's okay. No, I hope that's not the case, because I don't care what your political beliefs are.
Yeah, I'll love
I'm
you
not.
anyway.
I'm not gonna hate you for it.
Yeah.
So I hope that people are not that way in turn. Usually,
Yeah.
it's not the way it
But
goes.
yeah, we love doing this. We're gonna try to do several this summer because it just does give us a chance to sit down and actually talk to each other.
Yep. Probably gonna try to turn a little bit of this into Matt Jones for the. I'm gonna try to get to be a guest host on KSR this summer. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I'm gonna give it a shot, because who knows what'll happen. So if
maybe
you do,
maybe he's gonna hear it and just love to hear me talking and make me
and
a
then
guest
you
host.
get it instead of me. I'd love to hear you on 2 hours of live radio.
Oh God, I don't know if I could handle the callers because some of them, man.
A little bit too much. You got
yeah.
anything else before we cut it out?
Nope. Just thank you guys for listening, and this has been really fun to actually sit down and do this again. And happy summer! It's time to
everyone enjoy.
relax. Time to. I hope we
For some
actually get to,
still have to work every day.
Oh yeah, I forget that. When when I want to go do something, I'm like, hey, you free? And they're like, no, man, I work. So I get really used to not having to work during the summer.
I'm JNorth on JNorth0 on Twitter.com. Also on Snapchat if you want to add me on there.
I'm SNorth0, and on Snapchat I'm Sam Poke Sallet, POKESALLET.
Always down for the social media, so hit me up on any of those. Add me on Facebook. Message me anytime you want, and we'll chat it up, and I'm sure Sam will be the same way.
Yep.
And so that is going to do it for us, and I think this is episode 4 now.
Yep. Thank you guys for joining us on Let's Talk About Stuff.
Let's talk about stuff. I nailed it.
Imagine how the world could be so very fine, so happy together.